Whew, all right. Welcome to your unique devotion. We're just getting up here this morning, having some fun, goofing around, making a silly video. All right. But let's get to the important part that's not so silly. We're in Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, chapter 5. We're back at the beginning. Yesterday I read, you hopefully listened, the whole chapter. If you haven't, feel free to go back and watch that, listen to that, and just kind of get the whole chapter in one shot. Allows the mind to just sort of take it in a little bit. Now we're going to break it down. So here we go. This is entitled Qualifications for High Priesthood. Then the God question. For every high priest taken from among men is appointed for men in things pertaining to God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. He can have compassion on those who are ignorant and going astray, since he himself is also subject to weakness. Because of this, he is required as for the people, so also for himself to offer sacrifices for sins. And no man takes this honor to himself, but he who is called by God, just as Aaron was. So, what are you called or appointed to do? Here they're talking about the priests, for one. Priest being called by God, sort of ordained, appointed by God to do certain tasks. And it's sort of in their nature, if you will, to do it well. Not that there isn't learning involved and learning curves necessarily, but it's already sort of there. There's a bit of naturalness when they're in these roles. Some people feel they're called when they're not. That's a whole different subject. It's also starting to allude, and I think it goes a little deeper as we read, Jesus being appointed. Okay? So, collecting thoughts. What do we get out of that? Okay, that's a really neat history lesson. That's a good point that, God is appointing priests. That's great. But, what about us? What does that have to do with Brandon? What does that have to do with you? I think that's kind of the point. You have to be able to put yourself in that phrase. You can do that with the entire Bible. That's the point. It's a learning tool, a growing tool, a growth tool, a communication to God tool. So what are you called or appointed to do? It could just be in subtle things like throughout the day, in moments where God is trying to communicate to you to just do a certain task, to do something. Maybe to say hello to someone that you just bumped into and you're kind of feeling, fear, like, I don't want to say hi to them, but you should, because it may open a door. Even these videos, like, I don't make a living doing this. This is what I'm called to do for you guys, but maybe even more so for me, because God is calling me to communicate to him. God is calling me to put my thoughts out instead of just in here and hear what I'm saying. And then sometimes that gives me clarification that I go, wait, I said that, but it's not really what I was quite thinking, but maybe adjust my thinking, my theology, my reasoning a little bit. And then he goes, okay, see, this is communication. But what about big things, like what you do for a living, what you do in the world, in service, in helping others, and being compassionate to people, and yourself, being loving to people, and definitely yourself. What are you called to do? It's a very wide open subject where we can get, like I said, specific moment to moment in being called in those moments, but also as your life in totality. Like, who are you? What am I? Big questions. That's something only you can answer, something I can ask, something you can answer. And if you don't quite have an answer, I encourage you, take a moment after you're done here and just pray about it a little bit. On that note, I hope God gives you all the blessings you deserve, and even more so, all the blessings you don't deserve. Have a wonderful day. As always, don't forget to check the description box. I put the daily pump-up music down there. You can click on that link and listen to that if you'd like. They're usually, short, 3 to 6 minutes at most. There's always information down there. My email's down there. A link to servants.org, which I love those guys. They're awesome. Can't wait to work with them later this summer. And yeah, that's it. Comments, hit the like button, and subscribe. Hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow.